couple of minutes here after 6 o'clock. Looks like we've got enough for a quorum. So I have no problems letting everybody know this is the first time that I've led one of the committee meetings under the rule of Robert's Law. So whatever I screw up, you're okay to correct me. It's not a problem. You're not going to hurt my feelings. All right. We don't have, just real quick before we get started, I believe, I'm looking, Mary Ann Baker was nominated as our secretary. And so she's not here. So we probably need to get someone to take notes for us. Well, thank you very much. So we got our agenda. Everybody got your agenda? So the first thing we'll talk about is the minutes. So hopefully you reviewed the minutes from our last meeting, and we would look to get a motion to move forward with the minutes the way they're written. I see that Mr. Walsh has hit his button. Yes, sir.
Is it on? I don't think it's.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. Breakout second.
Motion second by Mr. Whitaker. Minutes approved. So let's move into talking about our discussion items, which we have our Title 11 that we had worked on reviewing last time. And I believe there was just a couple of asks that came out of that. And so I'll refer over to the mayor to get us caught up on where we stand with those.
Yes, in our last meeting, we reviewed the proposed changes in section 11-602. Chief Cothran had asked if we could leave that in because they do use this section. And so the Title 11 that you've been handed out does have that left in there. It is not scratched out, so that's put back in. And all the other changes that were described are still in there. There was one question asked by Mr. Jewell or Commissioner Jewell about drones, and Mr. Miller and I were going to look at that, and there is a piece of paper in there in your packet from Tennessee State University. It's their drone laws and regulations that they had put together. And under the FAA, anybody that's going to fly a drone for commercial educational purposes has to be certified as a remote pilot. And then any drone over 0.55 pounds has to be registered by the owner and has a bunch of other requirements. You can't fly a drone, anything during, but only in daylight hours. Has a regulation for airspace. Says the drone operator has to be within visual sight, line of sight of the drone, and that's not with binoculars or view screens. That is actually looking at the drone itself. And that the non-participants in whatever the drone's doing can't be flown over non-participating individuals. As you look at it, the FAA does not cover privacy or anything like that. So state law, the state legislature passed Tennessee Code Annotated 39-13-903, which is also in your packet. And it has several elements to it. That if the drone captures an image of an individual or privately owned property with intent to conduct surveillance, or that a drone cannot capture an image of an individual or drop an item into an open air venue where more than 100 people are going to be gathered for a ticketed event without their owner operator's consent. A drone cannot fly into or over fireworks discharge site without venue or operator consent. Drone cannot fly over a correctional facility, and it also cannot fly within 250 feet of critical infrastructure facility and capture images or video without written consent. Now, the first four of those are violation of those are Class C misdemeanors, and the last one, flying within the 250 feet of critical infrastructure, is a Class E felony. After reviewing these, Mr. Miller thought that the FAA and state law sufficiently covers the concerns that were raised for drones, and he recommends that we just abide by the FAA regulations and state law. He doesn't feel we need to add anything to the code. He was going to attend to be here tonight, but something came up and he's not able to attend. He did say if we had anything that came up, he would be available by phone if we wanted to call him in on that. So if there's any questions or if you got anything you want Mr. Bell to address on this drone regulation, I can call him in, but like I said, those are the discussions he and I had, and that was his recommendation. I actually confirmed it shortly before the meeting by text. And yeah, he stated that the drone issue is already covered by state law and FAA regulations.
I appreciate you guys getting the research done for that for us. Yes, sir, Mr. Jewell.
I think that answers the questions I had on it, whether it was covered or not. Do we need to put a heading in there and reference these regulations? So if someone's looking for it, they know where to go, if they have questions about it or not?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, well, this is how it always is. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. It's assumed you know what the laws are, whether you actually do or not. And we don't reference a lot of other state laws. So I would just say just having this one out there, just as long as the law enforcement knows about it, which I've already talked to the sheriff and he seemed to be knowledgeable of it, nor know about it.
Okay. So I think that,
Chairman.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Gary.
Mayor, on number 5, define critical infrastructure facility for me. On number 5, the drone cannot fly within 250 feet of a critical infrastructure facility. Define critical infrastructure facility.
If you look on that, back
page.
page, you'll
Yeah,
see
have
a
it.
subsection B, where it says as used in this subsection A6, critical infrastructure facility means, and it has a list there. I mean, I can read through the list if you want, but I think there's about
No,
9
it's-
different things. Did that not print? There should be a backside to that.
6A. All right, thank you.
Good. So just thinking back, we had questions on 11-602 with throwing the missiles, which we put back in. That's not crossed out from our last meeting. And then the questions about drones, we just covered that. So I believe we were, to look at moving the Title 11 now onto the full body to approve these changes that we've gone through and made. Is that correct? After answering these 2 questions from our last meeting. So
Unless, I mean, I would defer to Sheriff and Chief Cochran. I mean, they deal with it, and
great.
the only thing that I saw that I was concerned about was drones, because I know that has been a big issue, and I wasn't aware that the state had passed that ordinance when we asked about this. But other than that, if the mayor's comfortable with it and they're comfortable with it, I certainly am.
I have one question on 11-101. It's still in Title 11 as it's going forward to be kept in the code, but back on the minutes, it discusses removing that section. I wanted to make sure that this section 11-101, drinking beer on streets, etc., is still in the code.
That's correct. If you look back to our minutes, it says removing section 11-101, drinking beer, et cetera, since it's already covered under state law.
Yeah, that was a change I missed. Thank you for pointing that out.
You don't have it lined out in the pass out, so you meant.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was a
Yeah, he
section I
said he
missed
missed
when I
it.
made the change. It was a section I missed. So I appreciate Chief Coffin pointing that out. It was just one I missed.
Okay. So we would line that out and then, yes, sir.
I would petition the body to consider leaving that in there. That code has been used in the past. There's not that much problem now, but in the past of being on the streets drinking beer, that activity is not actually covered under state law. It would cover it if they drank to the point of intoxication. But like our city park over here, if someone rents a space, it's family oriented, it's a place for kids to play. And this ordinance prevents someone from taking 2 coolers over there and drinking beer to the point of intoxication and them being in violation. If they
Yeah.
want to drink beer, there's places for that. But the city park or the city streets, I would submit is not the proper place for that. And I'd ask for that code to be left
So you want to recommend that we leave it as it's,
as written,
as it is right now without it being crossed out?
correct?
Mayor, you have comments on that?
No, I don't have any comments. I just got the version I used as we went through last time we made changes. I wrote it down and I didn't have it crossed out because I didn't have a change in that. So I still had it left in my notes.
Okay,
So like I said, I don't know if it was meant to be left in. We had discussion. We decided to leave it in or not. I don't know. I just don't have it written, shown as a change in my
Okay.
notes.
so do we need to make a motion, official motion to leave it in and go through the process and be good with it? Let's do that then. So are you making a motion to leave it in?
I defer to someone else to make the motion.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to leave section 11-101 in the municipal codes.
okay. Gary makes a motion to leave 101 in.
I'll second it.
Shane seconds it. So you don't have to go back and fix anything. Yeah, we'll do, oh, that's right. Yeah. So everyone that agrees, say aye. Opposed likewise? None. So it passes. Okay. Now, we probably should make a motion to move this to the full body. Yes,
Are we keeping 11-102 in there as well, Chief? The minor, it's the next page. I think you mentioned 11-101. I don't know that you mentioned 102.
I did not. It's not in the minutes to remove it, and it has been left in the code.
right. It wasn't in the minutes to take out from before.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
To be sure.
All right. So do we want to talk about moving this on to the full body? Are we to that point? Mr.
Make a
Walsh,
motion to move to the full county commission.
thank you. Okay, we'll move that on.
Vote. Vote.
Vote, thank you. Everyone that would agree to move that on to the full commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Good job. I'm learning as I'm going. All right. So next is other, and I do believe, Mayor, you did have another you wanted to talk about with us for a minute.
Yes, sir. In your minutes, you'll see that there was a discussion about Title 10 vicious animals. Just an update on that. Mr. Beller is currently working with our new animal shelter director to try to get some language that we can then take to the sheriff's office and see how we're going to work forward on that. So that's just an update where we are in that process. We don't have anything right now. We're still working on getting definitions and those kind of things together. So I just wanted to update the committee on that. Chief Kaufman, do you have I just see your microphone's on. I just didn't know if you had a question or anything. Okay. And-
Any questions about that though?
Yeah. And on the request for qualifications for engineering services, myself, Sheriff Russell, and Chairman Jewell have been touring criminal justice facilities in various parts of the state. Part of the reason for that is we're going to facilities that were designed by the 5 architectural firms that have submitted their qualifications for helping us with this project. We've toured, is it 8 or 9? See, it was Madison, Bedford, Dixon, Wilson, Ray, McMahon, Monroe, so 7. And I think there might be a possibility of touring a few more. So it's been very, very enlightening to see the different types of designs and facilities that we've seen. We saw one that was very, very nice. However, it was $100 million also, but much, much more than we're ever going to need. But there's elements in each one of them we went to that I think would be very helpful to have here as we go forward and when we actually design it. Been good to talk to the locals there, the sheriff's department, about their experience working with the firms and getting their side of things. So it's been very, very enlightening. And I look forward to, if we do tour some more, going to see those and then picking an architectural firm and starting working on this process. And we do have a county corrections partnership committee that we're working with the Tennessee Corrections Institute on. So once we get the architectural firm on board, we'll start seeing more education for the county commissioners and the public about different aspects of what we're looking at. So we're still very, very early in this process. We're nowhere near the end yet. So we're just now kind of in the early stages.
Yeah, good deal. Anything else?
The last item was the premium pay. And of course, we did end up doing that for the county employees. We did the $3,000 bonus for full-time, $1,500 for part-time, and it was prorated for the months of service they had, and that has been paid out. So that's been done and taken care of. Other than that, I think there is also one other issue that we don't have ready to bring to the committee right now. Just want to let everyone know there's the sheriff's department's looking at some of the automatic license plate reading cameras. The county attorney has some concerns and policies and ordinances he wants us to put together, and he's working on that right now, but we don't have any language to bring to the committee right now.
I remember we was talking about that last time for a minute. Okay. Does anybody else have any other that's not on the menu to bring up, talk, or the agenda to bring up, talk about, not the menu, I guess, the agenda? Okay. Mr. Walsh,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Second by Mr. Whitaker. Everybody would like to vote. We good to adjourn? Say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Thank you. Appreciate it. Huh? Did you?